Hello and welcome back. In today's session, we will look at your S3 bucket. So it's an hands-on working session. So in this particular session, we will look at how we can create your S3 buckets. Then we will look at how you can upload files to this S3 buckets. Then we'll also look at how you can create folders inside this S3 buckets, and then how we can upload files to these folders that we will create in the S3 buckets. We'll also go over some of the options like how you can copy the data, how you can move the data, and all those things. And then finally, we will look at how you can clean up, deleting your S3 bucket. So this is gonna be a hands-on session. So we'll work with the console and we'll just go through the various steps that are involved with working with your S3 buckets. Once again, before I start off with the session, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So let's get started with this. I have my console over here. So we'll first navigate to the S3 service. So let me search for the S3 service, and here we have it. So by default, this is a new account, so I don't have any buckets. So to create your buckets, you'll see this create bucket option. Click on that and you will need to start filling in the details. So I'm in the Mumbai region, so that is where the bucket is being created. You can give a name to this. Now there is a naming convention that you will need to follow when creating a S3 bucket. So here you can see the bucket names must be unique within the global namespace and follow the bucket naming rules. So if you click on this hyperlink, you should be able to see the rules that you will need to follow. So minimum should be 3 characters, maximum 63 characters. It should consist of lowercase letters, numbers, dots, and hyphens. Must begin and end with a letter or number. So basically, this is the naming convention that you will need to follow. And the other thing is your name, the bucket name must be unique across the world. Now, what that means is, so if you look at my console, as of now, I don't have any buckets, right? So let's say I'll try creating a bucket with the name test. All right, so let's say we'll go to create bucket and I will get an error. So you can see it says bucket with the same name already exists. Now what this means is there is a bucket with the name test created in some other AWS account. All right, so you will need to make sure your bucket name is unique. This is simply because S3 follows a DNS naming convention. So as we know, DNS needs to be unique. That is where you have to make sure that you're using a unique bucket name. So let's say we will call this as this is gonna be my bucket name. I also have the option, if you have existing buckets, you can copy the properties or the settings of those existing buckets. This is your object ownership. ACL is disabled, that's recommended. So if you wanna make your bucket private, then you go with this option. By default, public access is disabled. So we will be going over these options later on. Your bucket versioning, your tags, if you want, you can add them. So let's say you can add whatever you want. Encryption, so again, like I said, we will be talking about all these things later on. There are few advanced settings, and then click on create bucket. So this will go ahead and create a bucket for us. So here you can see my bucket is created. Likewise, you can go ahead and create multiple buckets if you want. So you just have to click on create bucket and you can start creating the buckets. Now you can see in which region this is created, when this was created, and all those details. Now when you click on this, you should be able to go inside the bucket and you can start uploading your data. So let's say we'll go to upload, and you can either upload a single file, multiple files. You can also upload the directory of folder itself. Alright, so let's say we'll go to add files and you can choose the file that you wanna add. So let's say I want to add this particular file. So click on upload and you can choose the destination. You also have the option of setting your permissions and everything. So all these things will be covered later on, and then click on upload, and this will upload our data, the object, to the S3 bucket. So here is my object. So that's the name. You can see the type, it's a PPT. When this was last modified, what's the size, and what is the storage class. So by default, standard is what we have. So likewise, you can upload multiple files if you want. So let's say now I want to upload um, this, and maybe let's see, um, let's say I'll upload these couple of files. So upload, so you can see, um, I can select multiple files and I can upload them. So all these are object based, so whatever the data we upload, these are objects as per S3 buckets. And you can start using this S3 bucket to store any kind of data you want. Now, likewise, you want to create a folder, you can do that also. So you can see create folder, and you can give a name to this. Now, when you're creating the folder, you don't have to follow the naming convention. This is because we're doing it inside the bucket. So the naming convention needs to be followed at the bucket level. So now here, if I want, I can create a folder with the name test, and then create folder, and this will create a folder for it. And then again inside this, I can go ahead and upload the files that I want. Okay, so I can do that. So again, I can choose multiple files, single files, that's totally up to you. But this is how we can create the folders, and then we can upload the data inside that particular folder. So now if I go to the bucket level, so here I have in the root, I have these objects, and then I have a folder, and inside this folder I have a couple of other objects, right? So um, basically, your S3 is an object-based storage. We can use it to store any kind of data you want. It could be your scripts, automation, any packages, anything you want, you can store it over here. And when you click on each of these objects, you should be able to see additional details like who's the owner, the SRI, ARN, object URL, when this was last modified, what was the size, the bucket properties, everything you can see over here. I will be talking about the properties and everything in the upcoming sessions. Now there are a few more options here. So you can say actions. You have the option to download the object. You can create a pre-signed URL, get the total size. You can copy the object. You can paste it in some other S3 bucket or folder. You can move it to other folders. You can change the storage class. You can set encryptions and everything. You can also delete the object. You can open this object. So if you look at this object, there is a URL associated. We can access this, but at this point it's private, so we get access denied. Later on I'll be showing you how you can access this in the browser. So that's what you see over here. Then you can download this to your local machine. You can copy the URL, you can copy the URI. So URI would be if you're working with CLI or SDKs, then you'll be using this S3, which is the SA URI, which is like path to this particular object, right? So I mean that's basically what we can do with your S3 buckets. Now at any point you want to delete your S3 buckets, we can do that, but the condition is you will need to delete all the objects first, and then you can delete it. So basically you cannot delete a bucket that has data inside it. So you'll need to first empty the bucket. Let's go to empty, and we will confirm this. So this will go ahead and delete all the objects that we have inside the bucket. So now my bucket is empty, and now we can go ahead and delete this particular bucket. So we will need to give the bucket name, and that should delete the bucket. So please be careful, once you delete it, it's gone. AWS does not maintain a copy of it, so please be careful with what you're doing. There are ways that you can protect your buckets. You can have a avoid any accidental deletions. I will be talking about all those things in the upcoming sessions, but pretty much that's all I have for this particular session. So in this session we looked at how you can create your buckets, how you can upload files, a single file or multiple files, how you can create folders, how you can upload the files to those created folders. We looked at some of the options like copy, downloading the URL, the URI, and then finally we looked at how you can delete your S3 buckets. That's all I have for this session. Thank you.